We're going to take a look at the problem 2/5 divided by 1/2. Let's go ahead and write that down here. And then we're going to take a look at our number line below. Let's see if we can find 2/5. There's 2/5. And we're talking about 2/5 out of a whole because fractions are part of a whole. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the whole. And this particular question is asking us to find how many groups of a half are in 2/5. So if this is 0 and if this is 1, then half would be right about here. As 1/2 is greater than 2/5, so it's going to be a partial group. To do this, we're going to need to find a common denominator. So we have fifths and halves. So let's think through some of the multiples of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And for 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What was the first multiple they both had in common? Well, it was 10. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to remake our number line, and we're going to do that with tenths, since we decided on 10 for our common denominator. Scroll out just a little bit here so we can see. And I'll go ahead and put the problem back up. 2/5 divided by 1/2. So now we're looking at tenths. So we need to do a little bit of work here. What's an equivalent fraction to 2/5 with a denominator of 10? So think about what would we multiply 5 by to get 10? Well, we'd multiply by 2, right? But we don't want to change the value of this fraction, so we're going to multiply by 2 halves. Why would we choose to multiply by 2 halves? Well, 2 halves has a value of 1, and when we multiply something by 1, it does not change its value. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 times 2 is 4. So 2/5 is equivalent to 4/10. So let's go ahead and mark that here on our number line. And below, I'm going to go ahead and write the fraction 2/5 so we can remember what we started with here. And then we're going to be dividing by a half. So let's think about a half. We also need to write a half with a denominator of 10. So what would we have to do to 2 to get 10? Well, 2 times 5 is 10. We don't want to change the value of our half. We just want to write an equivalent fraction. So we're going to multiply times 5/5. 5/5 has a value of 1, so it doesn't change the value of this fraction. So 1/2 times 5/5 is 5/10. 5/10 is equivalent to a half. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that here, and this is the half. So our question is, how many groups of a half are in 2/5? Well, let's go ahead and use this little jump here, and I want to stretch the jump out to 1/2. And then let's mark where 2/5 is. So how much of the 1/2 jump is in the 2/5? How many groups of 1/2 are in 2/5? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts out of 5 parts total. I think the answer is 4/5, but we're going to check that using our common denominator division notation strategy. So 2/5 divided by 1/2, we said that 4/10 is equivalent to 2/5. And we said that 5/10 is equivalent to 1/2. And let's check our denominators. 10 divided by 10 is 1. We know we can divide anything by 1 and not change the value of that number. So 4 divided by 5 is 4/5. And 4/5 divided by 1 is 4/5. And that matches the answer we got with our number line strategy.